Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all for joining today. We are very happy to welcome you for this Gita in a nutshell course. Hope I am audible. Yeah. So on behalf of ISKCON of Toronto and ISKCON of Charlotte, I'm very happy to welcome you for this course. So in this course, I will be your facilitator. My name is Lalitangi Radha Devidasi. So you may question, why me? Because I want to learn more. And I had many questions when I was in high school, and I had attended the classes that was conducted by ISKCON Coimbatore at that time. So, and I continued my journey since then, which is like, by the Lord's mercy, it's been 25 to 30 years. But this 25 to 30 years is just like a lightning in the view of our eternal life. And so I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And also by learning Bhagavad Gita, I wanted to know how I can pay the debt back to my teachers and to the Lord, who gave me this wealth of knowledge, and to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and to the thousands of teachers whom I have learned from, I'm learning from, and I will still learn from. So when I had the question how I'm grateful, how I can show my gratitude, then my teachers told me that try to tell this to others up to what your capacity is. So Bhagavad Gita is an ocean of knowledge. And I found that this ocean is not only theoretical, but very practical. It has helped me live a meaningful life. I'm not a monk, I'm not a sannyasi living in the temple. I'm a very ordinary, mother and housewife. And I feel that this has given me a meaning of life, a joy of practice every day. And I see that I am getting so much pleasure from this practice and by the application of this knowledge. And so that's what has inspired me to share this with you all. So this Bhagavad Gita itself is a nutshell course, because Lord Krishna spoke to Arjuna on the battlefield in 45 minutes, the essence of all the Vedas. So it in itself is a nutshell course, and we are going to do that in a nutshell. So we're going to see the important concepts that come time and again in many different chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and over the next 5 days. So the pattern would be that I would be presenting the topics for the first 1 hour, 8 to 9 EST, US EST, and then we can take questions for an hour or so. So you can raise your hands for questions or put them in the chat. So I'm very thankful to all of you for taking your valuable time. You could have done many things, but you've come up, and that's not an easy thing to do. To just come up and get some time out of your daily routine to listen to what is there in Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell is a huge thing. We will know about this when we explore the concept of karma. One should have a lot of good balance sheet, good karma, to be able to have these questions and dedication to take this time off to learn something that is beyond the ordinary. And you are doing this decision now. It means a lot to the next generation, because one of my teachers used to give this example that in the villages there is a muddy pathway, or say a walking trail. But if the walking trail is not used for a long time, then they get overgrown by weeds and they're slowly vanish. There is no more trail. So similarly, if one generation doesn't walk on this path of understanding Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual knowledge in that, and applying that, that means it's a path that is not used and it will become closed for the next generation. So Krishna also brings this point up in the 4th chapter, telling why he's talking again to Arjuna. So to Arjuna, he's not talking the first time. He's talking again to Arjuna, and he also told whom he talked first, many millions of years ago, this knowledge. So you have done a remarkable decision to come together to learn this concept of Bhagavad Gita. And that way we are keeping this path alive for the next generation to come. So with this introduction, we will start with prayers. So this is one eternal truth, or it's called an absolute truth that's applicable to the whole of humanity. Okay, so we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatamahamam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyamishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So before this, let's go to the introduction of Gita. So Arjuna is a warrior, and Arjuna and his 4 brothers are in the path of dharma or righteousness, and they have undergone so many injustice, one after the other. If we want to know more, we can read the wonderful Mahabharata, in which Bhagavad Gita is a part. Bhagavad Gita is a small part of Mahabharata, but it is said to be like a soul of Mahabharata. So ultimately, after so many injustices, one after the other, the righteous brothers are forced to have a fight with their cousins who want to see them, not existent in the world at all. So Arjuna and his brothers are there in the war field, and as righteous they were, Arjuna and his brothers are paying their respects to their gurus, who is on the other side, who has to side with their evil cousins. It's a huge fight on the battlefield. It's yet to start, and they're making arrangements. And Arjuna is asking Krishna to drive his chariot in the middle of both the armies so he can make an estimation of whom he has to fight with. So he's there, and Lord Krishna happens to be the chariot driver. So this is the relationship that we understand. God and his devotee are so closely linked with each other. Just like a devotee wants to serve the Lord wants to serve the devotee. And that is why Lord Krishna, although he being the supreme controller and he is being present in everyone's heart, he took the humble position of a chariot driver, like a car, like a rental car with a driver. That's not a very prestigious position. But still, God shows his love and affection. And God also shows us that he would go to any level to guide us properly. So Arjuna is saying, asking Krishna, who's his chariot driver, to take his chariot in between both the armies. And Arjuna is about to make an estimation of whom he has to fight with. And then he sees them one by one, standing all there. And all of them whom he has to fight with. This is not like a video game fight where you get life after life, or level 1 and level 2. Somebody is dead and somebody comes alive, gives life, gives powers. No, it's real life and death. And in those days, there were not only weapons of fire, there were weapons of all elements. We don't know that strategy yet, how to make the weapons from water, earth, ether. So they all kinds of weapons everybody is having, and he's also dressed ready to fight, and he has to kill them or being killed by them. So when he's taking a look, his mind changes. Why am I here? Okay, after fighting this, what am I going to get? A piece of land? My brother could become the king, but for what? At the cost of the blood of all these relatives? Is it really right for me to stand here and fight them? And the cause of the fight is there are so many consequences. Those days, only the men came to fight, and the women and children are there. And then if the men doesn't go back, who will give them protection? So there'll be a whole generation left out to lurch, and then it starts a degradation of dynasties. And he thinks that forgiveness is a higher religious principle than fighting. And even if I fight, even if I win, I will not be happy. I'll feel miserable. So why get into something that makes me feel miserable at all? So he's putting out all these arguments. He's thinking, talking aloud as he thinks, and he's making perfect reasons, which are very wonderful reasons. Arjuna is a human being. He shows the humanity and he shows the compassion more than power for struggle. And power to conquer and to kill someone, to no, he's not ready to do that, and he wants to adopt the path of saintliness and forgiveness. And Krishna doesn't answer anything at all, to his surprise. And then Krishna says that, uh, at the beginning of the second chapter, he says, Arjuna, I don't think you should be talking like this. From you got this idea? You are talking as though you're a learned man, but what you talk shows your ignorance. So just uh, get out of this, get up and fight. Then Arjuna is saying, how will I fight? And how will I kill my teacher and my grandfather? My father died very early. My grandfather took care of me. How will I fight with them? Then Arjuna thinks, oh, I have come here to do a fight for dharma, for righteousness, for to establish the justice, right and wrong in this material world. So I have a duty to fight, but my intelligence doesn't allow me to fight. Forget fighting. I'm not even able to stand here. Thinking of the consequences of the war, I'm crying and I'm shaking and I'm shivering. And my hands are sweaty, that the bow from my hands is slipping down. So how am I to do at this condition? Although I know my duty as a warrior is to fight for the right thing, it's like this: if a heart surgeon uh, who has to do a very major heart surgery, he is like, he has to do a heart surgery on his own immediate family member. How would he do? Because the consequences of the surgery is making him paralyzed. He's not able to do that. And it's like an army man who is fully prepared to fight. But His consciousness, his conscience is not allowing him to execute the duty. So Arjuna is torn. He wants to do the right thing, the best thing. Even here, even he has to sacrifice his own life. Also, it doesn't matter for him. But he wants to do something right and something just so that for generations they would follow him. He wanted to be an example. But at this point of time, he was not able to decide what is right and what is wrong, what he should do and what he should not do. And the choices are two opposite poles. So, Arjuna, as you know, is a mighty warrior, archer, very powerful student, and he's a very compassionate king, and he has all good qualities. He's a learned scholar and he has certificates and degrees in from all fields, but that couldn't help him solve the problem himself. So, but he was intelligent enough. He decided quickly that it's not going to work out. Even if I'm going to ponder again and again for thousands of years, I will not be able to get a solution myself. So he decided, "O Krishna, Shishyasteham sadhimam tva prapannam. Now I'm surrendered to you, and you please guide me and tell me what is good for me. Because I lost my capacity to discriminate because of I know my mind is miserly and weak." And why did he tell that statement? He could analyze himself. If the people who are standing against me, whom I have to fight with, are not my relatives, would he ever have this confusion? No. So he could also understand that his desire not to fight was also stemming from the idea that he needs to protect his family members from death. That was one of the reasons. So he was quickly introspecting, analyzing, and he gave up. And he said, "Oh God," he said, "Oh Krishna, please, I surrender to you. I've been talking to you as your friend so far, expressing my thoughts, and you told me that I should get up and fight. Now I'm totally torn. Okay, now I am surrendering to you as your disciple, and please instruct me." So this is where Bhagavad Gita begins. Bhagavad is coming from the word Bhagavan. Bhagavan is God, and Gita is song, is a song of God. So Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna, and Krishna is answering the questions. And Krishna did not say, "Yes, you should fight because of this, and this reasons." You see, you remember Draupadi, you remember the wax palace incident, how it was on fire. You remember what all happened. No, he didn't say any of that. He gave principles and concepts. Why he gave that? Because all of us, in one time or the other in our life, we would be in situation like Arjuna's. May not be exactly the same, may not be worse like Arjuna that we have to fight and kill the relatives, but we have to always constantly make choices. And we are responsible for the choices that we make. And that is what is a human being. Human being in Sanskrit is called Manushya. Manushya is what you can see around in the world. There are so many living beings, starting from bugs to insects to plants to, wild animals to pet, the skyscrapers that we make. And like this, the animals have, excelled human beings in some of the uh, departments of knowledge. So if the human being is only using his life to do this, then what's the purpose of human life? The dog runs on four legs. The human being, as a we run on four wheels. But if the purpose is not different from dogs, then what is different from having a human body? So that's what Bhagavad Gita talks about. It's talking about principles that's applying to all humanity. And this will be following Bhagavad Gita as it is. It has been translated into 120 languages, including Arabic, Ukrainian, Siberian, Russian dialects, Chinese, Mandarin, Spanish, Portuguese, all European languages, and almost all Indian languages. Why? Because it is not for a particular group of people following a particular kind of religion or being born from a particular country called India. Because it speaks about universal principles that applies to humanity at large. So Krishna starts off with explaining to Arjuna, first of all, what we have to understand in life is we have so many problems and we want to find solutions for those problems, or we have some desires, we want to see how to get that done. But before solving our problems, before trying to attain our desires and plans, we need to understand who we are, because that forms the basics of a man who came to California and he became a billionaire. And in recession time, his family was reduced to a middle class. And what he did, he killed himself and killed everybody in the family. It's a news. Why? Because his goal of life is to be a billionaire. And if that goal is knocked off, he didn't find any purpose, not only for his living, for his whole family's living. And there is a deep erosion of understanding of life's values in that. So that is what is important. We all have goals in our life, right? When we go to school, we have a goal. We want to be the number one in the school, and then we want to get into Ivy League in a good professional course, and then we want to get into a good job, and then become scale heights in that, right? So we have goals. Without goals, we are not human beings. But we see our life is filled with goal posts that keep changing. If we don't have a constant and substantial goal in our life, then it is like FIFA World Cup playing with no goalposts. What would be that? Spain and Argentina are playing the final, but there are no goalposts. So our life shouldn't be like that, from one goalpost to another, to another, to another, and finally we find ourselves no more available for any more goalpost. So that is why it's important to know who we are. So this is the first. Bhagavad Gita is a song of God, but Krishna didn't start off by saying who he is. He's addressing the concept who we are. So that's what we are going to see now. So we see that a driver so drives the car, and Gita says a soul is driving the body. How to understand that? Recently, uh, there was an incident in Bangalore. There was a young couple, both less than 35 years. And suddenly the husband had some, kind of a massive heart attack. And the young wife, both of them brought up in nuclear families. She didn't know what to do. And finally she figured out, that he passed away. There's no movement and anything. She's crying. She's calling her parents from Mumbai, and they are telling, okay, we are going to come there, but we'll take the next available flight to come there. So you just, then she asked the question, where would I be? Where should I go? They say, you don't go anywhere, you be in the house. And, you make some arrangements for somebody to bring an ice box so that the body is saved. And she replied that I'm afraid. I'm afraid to be there. The person whom she was sharing her life and everything with, now she's afraid to be in the same home when the person is dead. So what is the difference between the person who was living a few minutes ago and now dead? He's not functioning, he's not responding. And we see the moment the life force leaves the body begins to decompose so fast. That's why they say in the olden days, before the icebox concepts, the final rite should be done at the earliest. So who was making that body alive? And when that life force goes out of the body, now that, uh, the body is um, just fit for final rites only. So that's a question everyone should ask. What is uh, this final exam called death? Now you may question, why worry about that? Is Bhagavad Gita not a pessimistic book to do that? But if we close our eyes to reality, how is this optimism? So Yudhishthira was questioned by the Yaksha in Mahabharata, what is the most wonderful thing in this world, surprising thing in this world? So Yudhishthira said, the most wonderful thing is that people see, their great grandfathers and grandmothers, and, everyone has passed away. They're even from the beginning of our life. Uh, we see that, hear the news, we have the experience of people leaving, but still we all think that we will never leave. So Yudhishthira is saying that that is so surprising. So everyone is leaving, but nobody wants to even think in the direction that I will also leave and I should make an arrangement for that. At least I should understand what is that and why is that happening to me. And that's why intelligence is given to humanity. Human life is different because we can read, we can understand when we can apply this. But if you have a pet at home, the pet also may be moving around you and sitting with you, but it wouldn't make any sense. What we are talking wouldn't make any sense. So isn't this a valuable human opportunity to use the human life to understand the answers for billion-dollar questions, especially when it is given in a very easy form, easily eatable form, like an ice cream in Bhagavad Gita, right? So in this session, we will see who am I and what are the 6 changes of the body that we undergo. And then Krishna also gives scientific proofs for the presence of an anti-material spiritual personality within the living body. And then what connects the body and the living person? The mind, or the mechanism of the mind. And why do we learn all these things? Is it only armchair philosophy, or is there practical benefits that we can obtain from this knowledge? So am I matter or am I spirit? So Krishna says to Bhagavad Gita, to Arjuna, in second chapter, 13th verse, very early. This is one of the basic building key verses of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna, before this, he said, Arjuna's question was, how can I cause the death of Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? So Krishna is telling him, neither you nor Bhishma or Drona, nor me, nor any of these kings who are assembled here will cease to live, Arjuna. And Arjuna is looking up, really? Then Krishna is explaining this, how it's going to happen. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. So he's saying how a person can be peaceful and happy at the time of death, which is the challenge, which is the toughest test for everyone. Because we don't see people living hundreds of years, thousands of years. In Russia, they tried to store Lenin's body for 75 years in oil. And I don't know what happened now. But even thousands of years we may store the body, nobody comes back to life. So Krishna is saying, understand this. That's not the end of your existence. It is exiting from one door and entering into another. So he says, in this life, you see, we are all born like this. We all have one day old picture now, and then we all grow up, and then what changes from babyhood to boyhood to adulthood, and then slowly to old age. What changes is the external appearance. But because a 70-year-old person looks very different from what he was when he was born, do we say that the 70-year-old person is a different person? Do we say we ourselves are different? We look at our own younger pictures, right, when we are young, and we say, wow, this is me. You see how my hair was black, how my skin was no wrinkles, and how I had so much energy. So the person is the same. So Krishna says, in this life only, while you're living, the death is happening. The child body is dead, and the boy body is born. And the boy body is dead, and the youth body is born. And the youth body is dead, and the old age body is born. But the change is happening so gradual that we don't see it. But somebody who sees us after 5 years, they say, wow, I'm seeing you after 10 years. You've changed. You've become, you're like this or like that. You've grown, especially children, 1 year to 5 year, we'll see the change. So the change is from the body, and even in this life, one body dies, but the death is so gradual of the baby body. And then as the baby body is dying, the boyhood body is developing. Even the science agrees that every 7 years, the cells are completely changed, and every moment there's a cellular change that is happening in our body. And Krishna says, at the time of death, this change is transferred into another body. So how do we understand this? So like we take car to go to work, and then if we have to fly to another city, we take a flight. If we are going on a cruise, then we take a ship. They are all different vehicles, but we are the same person. So Krishna says this body is our vehicle. And then at one point of time, when the body is no longer fit for us to live in, then we pass away. That's why we say when somebody passes away, he says he passed away. Okay, what is born is dead, but what is never born will never die, right? So Krishna says that this is just an exit to another entry. So a person who understands this becomes peaceful, and he prepares for this journey. And by the spiritual wisdom, he prepares in such a way that he can cross over this transmigrational change very easily. So if we ask, who are you? Right? So Srila Prabhupada gave this example for young children. He went to um, a school, okay, and we study the basic biology, and in others we study different parts of the body, how they function, how they are interrelated to each other. And this body itself is a miracle, how everything is packed so nicely, and everything is connected one thing to the other. Even if a small nerve pinned somewhere affects the entire system, like that. So, and then he asked the children, um, who was like middle school, he gave this, asked them to come. The most intelligent guy, he came, and he asked him, what is this? He asked him to show his hand, and he asked, what is this? And the boy said, I mean, he chuckled at such a question. It's very, silly question. He said, it's hand. And Prabhupada asked, whose hand? And he says, it's my hand. And then he pointed out to the shirt, and he asked, what is this? And the boy said, it's shirt, and it's my shirt. Now he understood the question. Then when Prabhupada pointed to the head, and he said, what is this? He said, it's head, and it's my head. And he pointed to the legs. What is that? And then everyone started, the whole class started answering. It's legs and his legs. Then he pointed the cane throughout and he asked, "What is all this?" And he said, "This is my body." Then he asked, "Who are you?" And the boy didn't have an answer because we are only looking at our body. And what's body made of? Technically, if you see, there are many scientists who, professor of anatomy, he says that the body is made up of this sulfur, calcium, this many ounces of magnesium, potassium, and copper, and iodine, and this and that. And if you put all of them together, the value of all this is, rupees 110. Maybe now it should be like maybe 1,000 or even 100,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees. But is that us? Suppose our friend is involved in a car accident and he has the most expensive, you know, the car now, say Lamborghini, and then the car is also badly damaged and the friend also needs to be hospitalized. Who would we attend to first? Definitely the friend, right? Not the car, even though it may be a $25 million car, it's a person who needs the attention because a person is not just the combination of chemicals, right? That's not just our identity. But invariably, we only think of ourselves as this identity, and then we go about all our actions and our duties and everything, and that's why we feel hollow inside. It's like, uh, it's not just the chemicals. And we saw that the living body and the dead body difference makes a huge difference how the rest of the people relate to us. Yet, we spend our whole life only taking care of the body. Bhagavad Gita doesn't say not to take care of the body. In fact, Krishna says that we need to do exercise, we need to have work-life balance in 6th chapter, and that's a part of the yoga process. But for what? Right? What is our real identity? So there's so many people who are claimed living beauty. Everybody knows here, like there are, this is age old heroine. But now we see, but after death, nobody wants to relate with that person anymore, even the closest relative. So what gave the beauty to the person, to the body, which is otherwise dead and starts decomposing? Right? Same body, but something is missing. Then you may ask, like, if the medical science is so advanced, if the death is happening because of so and so reason, why can't we bring back the life inside that? Can't leave about human beings, a dead grass. Those of us who have lawns, maintained lawns, if the grass is gone, you have to put the new seedlings again. Why can't we bring back even a dead grass back to life? Because that which was made the grass living is of a different anti-material particle. And that's not chemical or material particle that we see here. So Krishna is saying one very important and positive thing that we can all be proud of. For us, there is no birth or death at any time. And who are we? We are the soul. It's not that we have the soul inside. That's a wrong statement. We are the soul and we are inside this body at this point of time. And this is how our movement, grows throughout our life, right? Because if the soul goes out of the body at any of these stages, then the body stops growing. That's what happens, even miscarriages, right? There are many, if the soul is out, then if there is a miscarriage, then there's no more growth. So the growth and the living is because of this spiritual particle inside. And Krishna tells about the qualities of the spiritual particle. The spiritual particle is spirit and not matter. It is not born, so it doesn't die. The body keeps on changing, but there is no change for the soul. And the body is temporary, because anything that keeps on changing is temporary. The soul has no change, so it is eternal. So the sages, there is a shloka, very interesting shloka in Bhagavad Gita. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. For that which is temporary, there is no question of elongating it forever. But that which is eternal, it doesn't cease to exist at all. Ubhayorapi drishtontas tvanayos tattvadarshibhihi. One who knows this, which is eternal and which is temporary, and gives each the respective time and the attention due, he lives a successful and happy life. That's what the sages are saying. So even when the body is dead, the soul continues to live. It is like this. If there is a 100-year-old building with so much cracks, and you see there are creepers and plants all around, half the building is half gone. They cordon off and they say that this building is no more livable. So it has to be dismantled, and then new building can be constructed with that, right? So similarly, I don't know if you have seen a 100-year-old uh, person. Hardly, with our lifestyle and our food habits, we don't make it to the century. We only see in century in cricket. Even that has become now very rare. But recently I saw, a friend whose mother was 100, and it's not she was very beautiful when she was young. It's full of life. 100 years, the whole body is deformed and no more, fit to live. You see, 50, 60, 40, this ache and this pain and that pain, the machine starts to wear down, because body is a machine, is a vehicle. So, but if we live our whole life only thinking that we are this body, it is like we are driving a car and we are taking the car to the gas station. Of course, we need to take to the gas station to fill the gas. But every time we go to a gas station, nowadays we have a heart attack, because every time it's a different huge number. Although whatever, the Middle East war, the Gulf war, everything come to an end, this is never coming to an end. It keep on rising only. So we go there and we know that we have to fill the gas to our car. But if we identify ourselves with the car, and if we start thinking that what is food to the car is food to me also, then we don't live, right? We, the driver in the car, is made of a different element than the car. So the car needs gas, but the driver needs food. So similarly, this body needs gas, proper upkeep, yoga, keeping the body healthy, eating and whatever, house to live, a job to run and everything. But if we stop ourselves only with that, then what we miss? We miss the to understand that we are spirit and we need spiritual food. We need spiritual activities, because we are not just a chemical bundle to be finished at the time of death. So we continue to live. Now the question is, we know that we will live after 40. We assume that, and then we make arrangements. Okay, for my middle age, this is what I do. And then when I'm, when the children are out, they are up on their own, we want to downsize. And then we start looking about nursing homes, assisted livings, all that. Why? Because we know that we are going to continue to live. Same way, if we know that we are going to continue, we never are going to die, then isn't it sanity to learn about how we can make ourselves comfortable even after we leave this body, right? So nowadays we have automatic car. So, but still it is a remote controlled car only. There is still somebody who's in the remote driving the car. So the car cannot move without the presence either there personally or remote of the driver, or a software which is again made with a human brain to self drive the Tesla. That's also done by somebody, right? Oh, Krishna, give me 1 second. So sorry for that. Yeah. So we see everything we need to, keep everything in turn, like in place, take care of the internal organs, but still they're only like putting gas to the car. Unless we find out our food, spiritual food for the soul, we will feel an empty in this material world. And for a person who is feeling empty in the material world, Bhagavad Gita is for him. It doesn't matter. It's not a religious book for Hindus or any such person from Indians like that. If you have an appetite, if we feel that we are something above ordinary and we need to find answers for $1 million questions, and if we have a spiritual quest to find something that will satisfy us to make our life meaningful, then we can get the answers from this book. It's like this, like an old lady bought a cage. The cage was a golden cage, right? So she very carefully took care of the cage, feeding, polishing the cage and cleaning the cage. But she forgot to feed the parrot. What happens? The parrot dies. Here, the soul doesn't die, but uh, we feel a hollow, right? If we only pamper the material body, it's Krishna gives another example that uh, the body changes, but the soul remains the same. So he gives this very picturesque example. Vasam shijirnani yata vihaya navani grihnati naroparani तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. So old garments are given up and new garments are happily accepted, right? Everybody goes and then they are happy getting the new garments, and then the new garments doesn't remain new all over. So that becomes old and then that's given up and then new garments are accepted. So Krishna is saying like that, we, the soul, gives up the old and unusable garment, which is this body, and then we are ready to accept the new body. But there are, I mean, we will discuss this in the next coming classes, how we can architect. We are the designers and architect of our new bodies also. While we are living in this life, we can architect our next destination. So that's what Krishna is teaching us here. And there was this question asked to Srila Prabhupada. See, I think, our body is just like a complex machine. Everybody accepts body is a complex machine. If we just study how the body is made, we cannot help but come to a conclusion that that person who designed this body is a genius, right? But we don't see the soul. We don't see the soul neither entering the body at the time of the conception, nor seeing the soul leaving the body at the time of death. So, why should we bother about some soul? So, Prabhupada gave this example that does our car or computer grow? And then if you keep two new laptops, two cell phones nearby, does it produce a baby cell phone? No. So this proves that, God has created a man machine and a female woman machine, and both together can make another machine. So that proves that it is not just a machine. So we need to take care of the living anti-material particle that makes this machine work. And if we don't do that, then it's like, the children playing with the toys. A 5-year-old can play with the toys. But if a 30-year-old also play with the toys, then, people will laugh. But if we lead a life only thinking that this is my only life and I am this body, and based on my identity, my duty, my responsibility, my work, and my time, how I spend my time, everything is decided. It's like, the child getting, playing with some toys. Until 70-year-old, we are only playing with this material toys. But who are we really? We are missing this opportunity to make use of the human machine. But the human being is given a great uh, mechanism to understand this. So the 6 changes that the body understands, goes through, is being born, and then the body grows, and then the body is maintained for some time, and then there is production of byproducts of the body, and after that there is dwindling, and then death or vanishing into oblivion. The elements of the body mixes with the elements of the nature. That's the meaning of the mantras of final rites also. So what that which is becoming manifest is becoming unmanifest. But what doesn't undergo these changes is the person inside. And the person inside continues to live. So we saw this, we are not simply machines, because a machine cannot reproduce another machine, right? It's it's not sane to think like that. And we have a great asset called consciousness. Consciousness, in simple terms, means awareness. There is something that we are thinking about, something that we are feeling and willing and achieving. Everything starts with the mind, right? So where is this? Who's the soul and what goes with the soul? So generally, when we understand that we live in this body, we think we are the mind. But Krishna says, mind is also a subtle covering and not you. So the gross body is made up of 5 elements. These are elements or building blocks of this universe and this body as well. They're called Pancha Mahabhuta in Sanskrit: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Each one becomes subtler. Earth means something that has a form. This pen has a form. Water has no form of itself, but it takes the form of its container. It's fluid, right? And fire cannot be even put into a container like water. But fire can be seen. Air cannot be seen, but can be felt. See, it's the perception becomes more and more subtler as we go from earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Ether is a space, otherwise called akasha, or the element of sky. It's also called sky, not the literal sky, but the element space. Okay, so that is even more subtler to perceive. And more subtler than ether is mind. Okay, we know that we think with the mind, but we can't pinpoint where the mind is, like where the heart is, where the ventricle, left ventricle, right ventricle of the heart, or lungs. Every millimeter of the body is studied. Everybody knows we have the mind, but the mind doesn't occupy physical space like the organ. So it is more subtle. And intelligence is even more subtler than the mind, because we don't go do about whatever comes in the mind. Mind gives so much thoughts, and we pick what to do. What should I cook today? Then the intelligence says who's going to eat that, who what that person likes. Okay, then we choose that what to cook. So similarly, whether we are at the boss, we are very angry, we know, but if we do anything, we'll get our we'll be you know we'll be out of the job. So intelligence says keep quiet. Whatever you have with the boss, it's the same inside, but with the spouse, it's exactly the opposite. Means we shouldn't cross the line, but I'm saying, so the intelligence is the uh, element of that helps us discriminate. It's like a filter. And false ego. Ego is not a bad word. Ego means identity, what we think of as ourselves. And why it is called false ego? Because mostly we think of ourselves as our body, and everything else is coming from that. When I was young, 5 years old, I thought I am going to a kindergartner, and my mind and intelligence was, like that. My mind would run to to play, to toys, and everything. I don't want to sleep, and then there is another person controlling my intelligence. My intelligence is also not matured. So whatever identity, but now that's not the same when I become 40 years old, right? My ego is of that I am a 40-year-old, and I'm living here, and I'm in this family, and I have this responsibility. So the mind and intelligence are based on the false ego. Why it is called false ego? Because whatever I thought when I was 5 year old is not absolutely right. It doesn't apply throughout my life. Whatever I thought when I was 40-year-old will not apply when I am 80-year-old, right? So when we think of ourselves, our identity based on the body, and that's why it's called false ego. This subtle body is called Shukshma Sharira or Antakarana, or this is not seen. You cannot see the mind, you cannot see the intelligence, you cannot see the false ego, and this is makes the metaphysical psychological nature of a person. So that's why we see the outward appearance of a person, that's a gross body, but how the person behaves, what is his temperament, what are his desires, what are his activities, what is he thinking, that makes the subtle body. Subtle body is not visible, but actually subtle body is driving the gross body, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So the soul is even subtler than the subtle body. The soul is not made of matter at all. Mind, intelligence, and false ego is also made of matter, but subtle matter that is governed by material laws. But the soul, or we, the personality, we still have a form. We are not just light. At the soul level, what are our qualities? We continue to exist forever, because the soul as a spiritual particle cannot be even be seen, so cannot be killed by the weapons of fire, water, ether, or anything at all. And we as a soul are completely knowledgeable, and we as a spirit soul are completely blissful. But we, the soul, is first covered by the subtle body and then covered by the gross body, the two layers of coverings, of material coverings. So this the subtle body is the connection between the soul and the gross body. So Krishna is explaining the mechanism of how we work and how we live. So what are the scientific proofs if we want to see? Common sense, right? We say, like we discussed so far, the common sense aspects of it, like a person is not alive, everything that was there is there in the body, but the body begins to decay and decompose. So who has left? That is common sense. And the presence of the soul is felt by consciousness. And there are so many research that is done in this reincarnation and near death experience also. So, so we say this. Actually, the soul passed away. And we have consciousness, we have memories, we have feelings. So with a camera, this is an old camera, we capture, the camera sees a red light. But when a old couple is seeing the red light, they said, oh, this is where we walked first when we got married first. Like along with capturing the data, there is processing, there is emotions. That's because of being conscious, right? So there are many near death experiences, tons of literatures that is available in this, out of body experiences, tons of books. And this is it is observed in medical field also, with so many research on this. I mean, if you just Google, there are so many out of that, and there are good reviewed ones also. This person is has Ian Stevenson has investigated over 2000 cases of spontaneous reincarnation memories. And although it's not common, because we will also cover this point, why am I not able to remember? Okay, I remember some things from the past, but why am I not able to remember my past life if I existed before? That we'll cover later. But there are some exceptions. Like, for example, some likes and dislikes, some phobias cannot be explained. Why? Why are you afraid of being in the water? Why are you afraid of heights? So there is some impressions that the subtle body carries. Because when the gross body dies, when the death happens, only the gross body dies. The soul and the subtle body moves on. And the subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, and false ego. And the mind is a storehouse of memories and impressions that is being carried on. Otherwise, how could two twins born at the same time have the same DNA, have different temperaments, sometimes totally different likings, totally different personalities themselves? So there is something more to just the genes. So if you want to read more, this is a very famous award-winning book that came out in, I think, 2000, Soul Survivor. And this is a story of how a small boy remembered, born in 19.
I can beat the Japanese easy as pie.
When he was about 3, he started to draw a lot. He started to sign some of those drawings James 3.
He would just be crying. He'd say, airplane crash on fire.
So one day I asked him, I said, why are you signing your name James 3? His response was, well, I'm the third James.
It's being called the case for reincarnation.
There you go.
This 7-year-old boy from Louisiana not only shares the same name as this World War II fighter pilot, they seem to share the same soul.
Initially, what caught my attention was James's extreme fascination with airplanes.
James Leininger's parents don't believe in past lives, but realized early on their son was unique.
I took him to the Kavanaugh Flight Museum. That every time we went to the area where the World War II aircraft were located, he would just stand there and point, mesmerized.
He was barely 2 years old. Here's home video. While the other youngsters viewed the bombers with a childlike curiosity, little James recognized the steely war machines with a certain familiarity and comfort.
The pilot put them on?
I said, oh, look, there's a bomb on the bottom. He said, that's not a bomb, that's a drop tank.
That innocent trip to the museum would dramatically alter their lives and the lives of complete strangers forever.
He started having the nightmares, and that was my first indication that there was something wrong. The screaming was not like a normal child crying. It was a panic-stricken, terrorized screaming.
Over and over again, James had the same terrible nightmare, 4 to 5 times a week.
He was too young to explain the dream, but he could draw.
He started doing these little drawings of airplanes shooting at other airplanes or being shot down. It's the only thing he still draws. Bombing ships, you see men parachuting. Here's another one where planes are dropping bombs. This is a carrier, and you can see where what he does is when he draws them, he starts with just a picture, and then he just starts drawing lines all over the place like he's playing out a movie.
I kept thinking, where is he getting this? What's he watching on television? But I was a stay-at-home mom, so I know that there wasn't anything that he was being exposed to.
Not exposed to in this life, but perhaps, just maybe, somebody else was. Decades earlier, another little boy named James grew up in South Bend, Indiana, with the same insatiable fascination with airplanes. He became a fighter pilot for the Navy and shipped off to fight in World War II. March 3, 1945, during a mission near Iwo Jima, he took a direct hit, was declared missing and presumed dead.
He would wake up in the middle of the night, he'd be laying on his back, kicking his feet up at the ceiling and screaming. It was almost like if you were laying on your back inside a box and you're trying to kick the lid off the box. When I would wake him up, he would just be crying. He'd say, "Airplane crash on fire, little man can't get out." He said that over and over, night after night.
What goes through your mind when your 2-year-old says things like that?
It freaked me out. Yeah. It's like I can see in your face that it's startling and it's frightening.
I was alarmed by the frequency of the dreams or nightmares.
This was just the beginning. Nothing could prepare Andrea and Bruce Leininger for what James revealed next.
And I remember he laid on his back and he did the same motion like he did in the nightmares. He laid on his back and kicked up at the ceiling and he goes, "Mama, the little man's going like this." And he laid on his back and kicked his feet up. The little man's going, "Ooh, ooh, 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 can't get out." And I said, "Well, who's the little man, baby?" And he goes, "Me."
Okay. So this was in the Fox News. And we have so many things like this in India also. You can see this Shukla Gupta remembering her past life, and this was also in the TV. She could exactly say which village, which house, how to get into that, and details that 5-year-old is hard to say, cannot make it up. Another one is that it's a famous documented story. It's there in Wikipedia also. Lukti Devi from Mathura. So she was born as Shanti Devi and she could remember her previous life, and she kept telling she went to that place and she had asked her husband not to marry, but she found that the previous life's husband had remarried, but at this life as Shanti Devi, she couldn't marry anyone. So, I mean, she was on TV also and interviewed. So like this, there are so many reincarnation research. Although it's not common, why it's not common, we will see that. But some strange cases like this is there to show also that with a proof, scientific proof that there has been past lives before, and many scientists and philosophers have believed in this, which is very contrary to what we think now. But many people who are thoughtful have understood this. So why Krishna did start with the presence of the soul in the second chapter? Because we know how we work now. We know that we have senses, and then there is mind, and there is the intelligence, it's a decision maker. And so we can harmonize this. So Krishna is saying that the different levels to this existence, the physical body is like 5 senses, or like 5 horses, and the senses are all connected to the mind. The mind is what? Like if we see something, immediately from the eyes it is captured and goes to the mind. Oh, that's beautiful. I want that. Right? The mind decides. And when we hear something, oh, this is an old movie song I've heard when I was in teen, and at that time I was in school. So immediately the song enters through the ears and the mind. There's a storehouse of memory. So you will see how all the senses. And when we say like gulab jamun or rasagulla, and we can sense that where we have tasted it, maybe in a wedding reception, maybe in a party, and then that goes inside to the mind, and then so we see how the external world, the stimulus is collected by the five knowledge acquiring senses. They're called eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. This we all have learned. But this is bringing all those data to the mind. And intelligence is the driver in whose hands the mind is there, and the senses are connected to the mind. And this is the passenger is a soul or us. So what happens now if we see in this picture, the senses are horses. The horses don't have the thing to cover the eyes. You see, if you see the horse carriage, they have something because the horse tends to go wherever he sees. So these are five strong horses. And we know horsepower. Why do we say horsepower? There's nothing equal to that. And five horses, and they're unbridled. They look everywhere. And what happens? Five horses running in five different directions, and that most of the five, one of the horse which is most powerful is going to pull everything over. And then the mind goes, okay, let's go to this movie today. I mean, I have some things to do, but let's do it tomorrow, but let's go to this. So the mind is being pushed by the senses running after the sense object, and the intelligence is toppled, right? And then how will the passenger ever get to where he wants to go in this kind of a ride? Each horse will pull us in one direction, but actually the control should be how the passenger should tell the driver where to go, and the driver should be able to use the reins to control the horses, regulate the horses, the movement of the horses, not stop the horses, regulate the horses, and reach to the destination. So this is what Krishna says. He's explaining that we have a physical level of existence, we have a mental level of existence, we have an intellectual level of existence, and we have a spiritual level of existence. But if we have a spiritual wisdom and spiritual practice, then the spiritual level of existence becomes stronger and stronger, and it influences all the other levels and also harmonizes all the other levels. Sometimes the senses are want to go somewhere, the mind wants to go somewhere, the intelligence is telling something else, and then there is a havoc. So this knowledge that who we are and who has the power to tell that we are, mind is of course very powerful, but we as a soul are million times more powerful than the mind. And so we are getting the knowledge, the spiritual wisdom, and the spiritual practice to harmonize our different levels of existence and live a meaningful life so that we don't regret at the end that I should have lived like this, I should have done like this. So we always have this, positive and negative thoughts, and the mind is a storehouse of both. And we don't want to think about something, but then it keeps coming up again and again and again like a stubborn child. And sometimes mind bullies us into thinking things that will put us in trouble. That is not fair. That's not pleasant, right? So we learn how to manage the mind. It's not easy and it's not an overnight process, but it is possible, and it has been done by many, many people. We don't need to be a monk to do it. We are just human being. That is a qualification that's required. And we have an interest to live a happy and a peaceful life. So desire is a powerful tool. Mind is a powerful tool. Okay, desires cannot be stopped, but the desires can be streamlined. So we get the scripts from now. It's not books, not movies, not music, and not friends, but with our constant companion, the mobile phone. So we hold the mobile phone, but actually it's the other way around. The mobile phone holds us. So whatever the kind of reels we see, the kind of social media post we see, and we don't need to call up. There's no point of calling up and asking how was your vacation. We just go to social media and see which friend has gone where, what dress they wore, and how many times how many everything. So we collect all these data and fill our mind with that, and whatever goes in will only come out, right? So we learn how to streamline the data which is useful to us and not just garbage. So we are able to better ourselves with this spiritual knowledge, and also there is a practical way how to do this. So by studying Gita daily, so this course is only uh, giving us an overview of what is there in the Gita, and it should ultimately serve as a trailer so that we learn how to use this book, Bhagavad Gita, as our friend, because Krishna says, "I am your eternal friend, Suhridam Sarva Bhutana." We talk to God, but we complain that I don't hear God talking to me. But as God has talked to us in this book, and we learn how to hear what God is talking to us. It is a custom book. It's an open secret. I hope all of you have this book. Although it is available on internet, I would strongly recommend to have a book. We develop a relationship with the book. We can make notes, points, revisit and reread again and again and again, and make this a lifelong habit, so that we don't live a crazy life, but we'll live a happy and a harmonized life. So the bad habits of the mind can be delivered with mantra. We will cover this more in the coming sessions. But what is mind? Man is mind. Manusha means one who has the power to mold the mind. But we also should learn how to deliver ourselves from the afflictions of the mind. Because at home, we get cleaners or we have to clean. Otherwise, if we don't get the trash out, and for the trash truck to take it, imagine the house will be full of trash. We'll not have place to walk around. But in the mind, are we cleaning the mind constantly? Are we taking the trash out constantly? No. We are very clutching to our trashes in the mind. And so the mind is a clutter, not only from this life, from many lifetimes. So we have to clear the clutter by meditation. So the sound mantra meditation means meditation guided by the sound. And Srila Prabhupada used this mantra meditation in a joyful way, in a musical form, in kirtans, that everybody could take part and they could feel the instant relief that the mantra gave them. They may not understand what the mantra means. It's like you take a medicine. We don't need to be a doctor for the medicine to work. Even if we don't know anything about the medicine will still work. Mantra is like that. Even if we don't know the mechanism of how the mantra works, it's a medicine for the mind. Especially, it relieves us from stress and anxiety. Bhaya shokadi varjitaha. I think we should stop here. So this concept of the soul will bring us together. Okay, what divides us is based on what we think we are. We belong to a particular religion, we belong to a particular country, in that a particular state, and in that a particular dialect. Like this, based on the body, there are only hundreds and thousands and millions of divisions. But based on the spiritual wisdom that we are the soul, everything is unified. Okay, we are all souls, no matter whether we are rich or poor or Muslim or Hindu or Sikh or whatever, educated or beautiful or ugly, all of them are only dresses. It's like, somebody's wearing a red shirt, you don't call them a red shirt because he's a human being, he has a name. Similarly, seeing these differences on the bodily platform is only divides us, but what unites us is the thing that we are all Atma, the living force, and not that whether you are from Europe, China, you're white or black, everybody is born, everybody is dying, everybody is having stress and anxiety. Everybody, nobody is, going back from old age to become young in this life. So the problems are the same and the solution is the same. The spiritual wisdom that who we are will unite us from all walks of life. But we know that we are the soul and we have consciousness. And also, when we know we are soul and we are powerful, we can get out of the bullying mind. We have so many inhibitions. Oh, I am not like this. And we feel so inferior when we see someone who's more knowledgeable, who's more rich or who's more powerful. Then we feel so low and small. But that's not what it is. We know our abundant potential by being a soul, and we stop to compare, and because of that we are always happy. We learn the art of being in love, joy and serenity and having compassion towards others. So that is a result of consciousness of the soul, and it also gives, even if we are in terrible trouble, we know that we are not going to die, and no problem is huge enough for us to not surmount that with the wisdom, because we are not alone in this journey. We are with now a friend called Bhagavad Gita. And so we are able to be calm, quiet and patient, and we develop these qualities not outwardly. It comes from within the heart, and it comes to stay, and it springs from the spiritual wisdom and spiritual practice. Okay, and also we don't exploit. We see everybody as atmas, whether they are animals or insects or even the plants, and so we don't exploit them. We will learn to use the right resources, so we'll be environmental friendly. So I'm skipping something. So in summary, I'm sorry I went overboard time. We saw how Krishna is addressing these concepts as an answer to Arjuna's questions. And first, he addresses who we are and whose Arjuna is. And he comforts Arjuna, telling that none of us are going to die. And we as a spirit soul will not die. And while the body is continuously changing, we continue to live. And then we continue to pass on. And then we have gross and the subtle body. We don't see the subtle body, we don't see the soul. Soul is spiritual, and subtle body and gross body are two types of material bodies. And how the mechanism of the body works we have seen, and also the scientific proofs of existence, near death experiences, also reincarnation studies, and how this whole different levels of existence can be harmonized by understanding how one is in touch with the other, one controls the other, and what to do to bring unity and peacefulness in our existence. So these are the practical benefits of the knowledge of the soul also. So thank you all very much for your patient listening. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And we will take some questions. Those who want to read more can read the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And we will continue tomorrow, Krishna willing, from session 2. So now we can take some questions. Um, Okay, Muskan. See, everyone is, um, it's an open question answer session. There is no right or wrong or silly or intelligent questions. And this forum is especially for those who are attending this the first time, attending this Bhagavad Gita sessions for the first time. We encourage questions uh, from everyone, but of course, for those who are joining this for the first time. So, Muskan, you had raised your hand. I want to unmute you. Anybody else also are free to raise hands for questions, or you can put it in the chat also. Yeah, we have this class. This is a Gita in a nutshell class. We have this course is designed for 1 week, only 5 days. But as we discussed, this is really, we are not touching even the surface. This is the 9th batch that we are doing based on the feedback. For the past 8 cohorts, we have done the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, each chapter overview. But then I got a feedback telling that if we do this course, uh, the first 1 week course of what Bhagavad Gita is, and then continue with the 18 chapters, little in-depth study, that will be very helpful. So we have, this is the first batch we are trying this. So it will be for 1 week, but after that, there will be level 2, which you can take part. So we will announce the details soon. Okay, so any questions? Muskan, I'm unmuting you. I saw your hand raised.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Nice to hear you.
Yeah, likewise. I don't have a question. I been wanting to share one testimony when I joined that winter session.
Hmm.
It was January 21st. I got off from work and it something happened with me that answered one of the unanswered question for somebody. So it's my cousin who asked me that you are going into spirituality, this and that. So you think that God will be saving you all the time? Like, for example, if you are on a road, had an accident, so you think if you are going into spirituality, you won't have that accident happen to you? Or many other examples he asked me this question with. I did not had any answer because I was also very new into the classes, right? He asked me this question like 6 months ago from the incident when it happened. And then on January 21st, I still remember, I was going to join this class after getting off from work and I was driving. It was raining and snowing. Uh, I had a very terrible accident, but Krishna saved me. I don't know how. I was on the highway in the left lane. Somehow my car slipped. I went into the right lane,
Oh my God.
came back in the left lane, went into the right lane. So the highway was super busy at that time, but just for a minute when I was going zigzag motion, nothing happened. No cars, nothing came, and I was safely parked on one side. There was a little very minor damage to the car, but nothing else had happened to me or anything. And like this was that unanswered question asked by somebody, and how Krishna saved me. Like I could have taken somebody's life or even my life. Biggest thing happened to me, and then I could not join the class at that time. But then I kind of never got chance to share it with everybody. And
Wow.
then finally,
Thank you so much. You see, personal experiences, that's that is, I mean, that we cannot deny. Others may or may not believe, but if we have a personal experience, then that's from the heart, and that's forever. That is imprinted in our heart forever. That's wonderful. Thank you, Muskan, for sharing that.
thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else? Any questions? Whatever, I know this is a very deep concept, And this is not something that we have thought about, or even if we have thought about, we don't know, maybe not given much importance to it. But Krishna is opening a paradigm shift in this. So please think about it. Whatever questions we all learn. It's a learning for me also. So I encourage you to ask questions. Okay, there is a question. How? Zoom user, okay, I'll unmute you. You want to
Hello,
ask?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, hello.
My question is how learning Gita will help to get rid of negative thinking patterns.
Hmm.
Because patterns are difficult to break because since so many years we are thinking in a certain way. We are taught to worry and, for exam, for job and this, that, like. So we know, like, we are in awareness, like, we are thinking negative, but it's like a habit. It's very difficult to break that.
Yeah. That's why Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita, because Arjuna was also overthinking at that point of time. He had negative thoughts. Why should I fight? If I fight, what will happen? Is it required? Is it necessary? So, what will happen in the future? So, that's why the first chapter is more or less our lives. We may not have a battle to fight in, like in Arjuna and Kurukshetra, but every day we have our own battles, uncertainties, unfulfilled desire, and especially fear about the future, what will stay and what will not stay, right? So it's not you and me, everyone in this world is like that. That's the same thing for everyone, except for a few sages who knows the past and the present, and for them it doesn't matter what happens. So we are all in the same boat, and Bhagavad Gita is for us. How to break, how it will get rid of the negative thinking pattern, because in sixth chapter it's called Dhyana Yoga. Bhagavad Krishna is telling about the mechanism of the mind, and Krishna is telling a shloka that mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. If we take instructions from the mind, then it's our worst enemy. If the mind take instructions from us, then it is our best friend. Then he says that Arjuna is, and he says many different things how you can do, basically by regulation. And like what we saw, right? What goes in and what comes out. And so uh, Krishna is answered to a bit, Arjuna is telling, oh Krishna, I think it's for me, if you want, ask me, I can control the wind. I can make a place through my arrow windless. Like I can produce vacuum there. But I can't control my mind from entering into the vacuum. I can stop the wind, but I can't stop the mind. Krishna says, I agree. Arjuna, it's undoubtedly uh, difficult to control the constantly moving mind, but he gives us two solutions. He doesn't say, yes, Arjuna, it's undoubtedly difficult to control, forget it. No. Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Abhyasa and vairagya. These are the two methods that he says. Abhyasa means by practice, and vairagya means by detachment from things that affect the mind. So we will by the practice of regulating the mind, then if the mind brings up a negative thought, we can say, shh, keep quiet. I'm not going to listen to you. And if you're strong enough, we can divert that negative thought into positive thought. We can, what to say, bring out a code that when the negative thinking pattern comes, the code gets activated and it becomes positive. What is that code? When it's not like, that's why I said it's not a switch. to turn off and on. It's a gradual process. So we strengthen the mind by practice of controlling. That is why mind requires relaxation. Even during the when we sleep, mind is constantly working, constantly thinking. Sometimes we dream about what happened in the day. Sometimes we dream about something that is no connection at all. But the mind is working even during the daytime and even during the nighttime. So then how? Where will the, relaxation comes from? That comes from mantra. Trayate iti mantraha. I am not powerful enough to control the negative thinking pattern of the mind, but the mantra can do that. Because mantra is not manufactured by human beings. Mantra is um the powerful sound vibrations encapsulated in syllables that is given in and practiced, that is given in the Vedas, and that is practiced over and perfected by many, many people. So I take the help of the mantra to relieve the mind and to make me strong. And then each and every one will decide, we will learn intelligently to design a code whenever there is a negative thought, how we can make it a positive thought. That may change from person to person, situation to situation, but we will evolve a code. So in that way, what happens is even in the greatest calamity, one can be peaceful. That's what in the fifth chapter he says that even if there is a greatest calamity that affects us, the person who is practicing will learn to be peaceful. And that's why this is a life skill. This is not an optional knowledge. Spiritual wisdom and the way how we work, because we learn about everything else but we forget to learn about ourselves, how we work, what is the body, what is the connection, where is the mind. So when we learn about ourselves, then we know how to fix where we are going wrong with the help of the book and a person who's practicing this. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you. And one more question.
Yeah.
They say that what you think, what you attract. There's a lot of people are talking about manifestation and all those things. So they like say, oh, your thoughts affects your life. If you are thinking negative, you will attract those kind of situations in your life. And is any truth, like spiritually speaking?
That's true. If it if we are negatively thinking, then we are like it's like sitting on a top of a slide. We will slide down more and more and more. So that's why it's important to replace the negative by the positive thoughts, and we will learn how to do that. That's a guaranteed process. It will work, but we need to practice that. Practice means what? Daily. Practice means watering the plants. If we water the plants once in a week, then the plant will not grow. So practice means daily, and we practice this, and we also read Bhagavad Gita in depth. We should know inside out of Bhagavad Gita. My teacher told me at least we should read 1,000 times. It's not difficult that if we read uh, there is a app, Be a Sage, page by page, that gives you, if you want to finish reading Bhagavad Gita in 3 months, how many pages you should read every day. So like that we can, one time, two time, three times, and every time we read, it's like a video game we are playing, level 1 to level 2 and level 3, like that. So you've mastered the skills of level 1, so you're ready for challenges of level 2. Then you mastered the skills of level 2, then you're ready for challenges of level 3. That is how Bhagavad Gita works. Every time we read, we are in one level, and we try to practice that. We have mastered that level. Then when we read again, we learn more. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will share the app, Be a Sage, page by page. That's what we will also go through. I mean, we have classes designed how the next level of classes will be a chapter overview, and the next level of classes will be reading the chapters together, and then again the next level. So we have devotees who have done these different levels and still they are reading Bhagavad Gita. And then there are higher concept books that where Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam starts, they're reading that. So we have a whole lot of things that, that's laid down for us in this journey. We are not alone. We will do it as a group task. There's one more. Yeah, anybody else has any question? That session, the level 2 sessions, we will announce. At the end of this session, we will ask you in poll if you want to join the next level sessions also. That will be also online. Maybe not every day like this, but maybe twice a week like that. 18-day sessions. Yeah, we are still planning it out, but we will let you know soon. But stay with us. At least stay till the end of this 5 days. You're committed, you've come. I know some things go above your head, some things makes you feel uncomfortable or you don't agree with. It's okay, let it go and be present here for 5 days, and then we are ready to answer any questions. And if we don't know, we will ask our teachers and seniors and we will come back. But it will be something that you will treasure. So my request is, please continue your journey. Okay, when body died, soul go away from the body. Where does the mind go? Mind goes with the soul. In fact, mind takes the soul to the next body. And the next body depends on what we did this life, our desires and our actions. And like this body is what we did in the previous life. So similarly, next body will be depending on what. That's why we said Bhagavad Gita teaches us not only to be a positive thinker and be very happy and peaceful and satisfied in this life, we can also design our next life. Okay, anything else? Any other questions? Usually in other classes, we'll have more questions. The class will be 1 hour and the question will be minimum 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So I encourage you to ask any questions because that makes it more interactive. So that makes it more meaningful also. Oh, anything else? Is this the same Zoom user or anybody else raising hands? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. If you don't want to ask in the chat, you can directly message me also, I think. Take it a direct question. No. You can also message me directly in the chat to take up the questions because without questions, there is no class. There's no interaction. You could always attend this online. There are so many, but then questions, what will make it applicable to us, will make it live and interactive. So I request you, please think about what we discussed today, and you can read the book also and come with questions, and we can discuss more tomorrow. Alekia. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Can unmute and ask.
Hi, Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, just a quick question. Why do we forget the past lives, Mataji? I'm not
Yeah,
sure
that's the
if I heard that.
you have to wait for the answer.
Oh, okay.
But I can give you a gist. Uh, why do we forget? Because we are able to live sane. Krishna, that the God has designed a system so that we can lead every life with sanity. So we are given the fortune of being able to forget the previous life. Otherwise, it's very difficult to carry on with two identities. Like I said, the Shanti Devi, Lugdi Devi
Mm-hmm.
story. So as Lugdi Devi, she passed away, but her mind is still in Lugdi Devi. She's five
Mm-hmm.
years old, but her husband is 40-year-old. Her sons, her so-called sons, are 25-year-old, and she couldn't relate with her family in this life. Neither she could marry anyone also.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, her husband has already remarried and gone away.
Yeah.
So it's like this. What the scriptures say, it's like the group of if we take a bunch of straws, dry straws, and put on a flowing river, sometimes they come together, sometimes they come apart, sometimes they come together, sometimes they come apart. They make permutation and combination of being with that. So like that way, there is no there's no meaning even if we remember the previous life or revisit, because that situation, that people have gone away into different situations. It's not
Right.
constant anymore. That's why, Bhagavad Gita says that the same is going to happen this life also. So you give importance to something that is eternal, and along with that, take care of the temporary also.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah.
Thank
Makes more
you.
sense. Yeah. It's
You, Alikya, for the question.
thank you.
Okay, how did we come to the earth planet from the spiritual world? If the spiritual world is the best place to be. This is also $1 million question. So it is like this: if a child wants to drive the car, what does the father say? He doesn't give the his car for the child to drive. Uh, he gives a toy car. The child is like 3 feet, 2 feet, and then so the car is small and he can drive like that, and he can feel that he's also driving a car like daddy. So because he wants to imitate the daddy makes an arrangement for him. So similarly, we want to enjoy separately from God. And even with God, we can enjoy as a cooperator, but we want to be the center of attraction. Like every child has, right? If you go and then there are if you go there are families visiting your home and you have a 3-year-old toddler, he does something to get everyone's attention. So we are all like that. We all want to be center of attraction always, and we are trying it out. And so the daddy God is giving us mini cars to try it out. And but after trying out many mini cars, we understand that this is not worth trying, because every time I'm failing, I'm anyway not able to live like my daddy. So let me cooperate. So we come to that. He says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. After many janmas of research, we come to the point to understand who is the source, who I belong to, and who is my eternal friend. And then we try to develop a relationship there. And then that's the end of our driving many mini cars. Is that okay? Thank you for the question. Uh, so our soul will always be leaving and taking bodies, yes. But we can decide what body we want to take. If we take this material body in this material world, then it is governed by the material laws. What is the laws that's governing this material world? Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. For uh, what is born, death is sure. Like that, for what is dead, birth is sure. But then there is that we can design our next body as a spiritual body. So spiritual body means completely made of spirit, not made of matter, and so doesn't come into the material laws of birth, death, old age, and disease. And then we can choose a eternal life. That's what Krishna is actually placing invitations. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Wherever you go from Brahma Loka to Patala Loka in different planets, Punar Avarti. You cannot stay there eternally forever. Ma mupetyatu kaunteya. But if you come to me, Punarjanma na vidyate. So that's the thing that we are going to learn. I am reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. I'm 80 plus. I enjoyed this class. Thank you so much. I'm very honored that I'm able to serve you in some way. Okay. Another question is, Mataji, how do children decide where to take birth and why do some people remember past lives? So children don't decide like if you as parents you decide that which school the children goes to, and then from first grade to second grade to third grade, from then elementary to middle to high school, and then we help them go to the right university, like that, right? So similarly, there is a system where higher controllers are orchestrating where the soul will take birth next. And how is it decided? Depending on your bank balance, that will remain with you. What will remain with us? Even the jewels that we wear and that make us look so beautiful will be taken away when we are dead, before the final right is given to the body. What to speak of anything else, right? So, but what is the currency that works is our actions and what reactions we have got. And they say that's why at the end of the life they say Ram Nam Satya Hai. And how much we have spent our valuable time in understanding the purpose of life and in spiritual practice, that will decide our next body. Basically, based on our mind. The example given is, I will delve in detail, but because this question has come, it's like when you go and stitch a dress, then that is made according to the size of the gross body, right? So this gross body is also a dress that is made according to the size of the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So that's why the thoughts, that's what we carry throughout in the next life, and that decides where to take birth. We don't decide. That is given to us. Like you put the child in school in the kindergarten. So similarly, where we should take birth, there is a organization, there is a that we don't see it, but the higher controllers, they decide, okay, according to the karma and desires of this soul, this is fit to take birth in this family, like that. So depending on the give and take, if we have given so much pain to someone and then they have to give back the pain to us, then there will be, either will be the husband, wife, or children, or something like that. So there is a source of pleasure, there is a source of pain, there is a give and take, and everything is arranged picture perfect. No, not even a small mistake in that. It's like dabbawalas. I don't know if anybody from Mumbai, back then there used to be dabba walas, millions of dabbas, lunch dabba they transfer from the house. It's collected from the house that is cooked to somewhere the husband gets to eat, but it is said that they don't. There is no. It's 1 in million is the mixing rate in that. They don't have. There are illiterates, no computer, nothing, but still their system can work. That one in the error rate is 1 in 1 million. So that's how it is done. When the cycle of taking birth stops, when we reach uh, our home, or when we get a spiritual body where there is no death. That's why Krishna says, Mom, um, if you janma karma chame divyam yevam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mameti sorjuna. If you know the concept of Bhagavad Gita and the application of Bhagavad Gita, then there is no rebirth where you will die again. That is the guarantee of Bhagavad Gita. And even in this life, we will be freed from two things, bhaya and shoka, fear and lamentation. Okay, can you explain the difference between ego and false ego? Ego means identity, and we cannot crush our identity, right? Usually, in literal terms, oh, she's having so much of ego. They say ego is like a negative connotation term, but that's not what in the literary ahankara. Ahankara is a term in Sanskrit for Bhagavad Gita. That means I am the doer. So the identity cannot be crushed, and it's not wrong. Ego means our identity, what we think of ourselves. Okay, false ego means we think of ourselves as something that keeps changing. That's why I said when I was like 20 years old, what I thought about myself is not true now. So that's not absolute, that's my false ego. So when we base our identity on our present body, then that's false ego. So what is a real ego? Real ego means I am soul. I am I am the undying soul, and I am inside this body. And more about the real ego we will see in the coming sessions. So you are the creator of your life. Yes, technically. Uh, Krishna doesn't interfere in our independence. So he gives us the option to choose. So that's why we need to be careful what we create. Oh, that was quite a good number of good questions. Thank you so much. Anything else? If not, we can pause here. But please keep noting down your questions, and so tomorrow we can discuss more. And we have finished only one session. If you have more friends whom you think will be benefited by that, please send them this link and they can also join. So I really thank you for your patient listening, and thank the Lord for allowing this to happen, and thank ISKCON for giving me this opportunity, and by Krishna's blessings and we'll meet again tomorrow same time to discuss the second topic in Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So let's close with prayers. Please chant along with me 3 times, although you're on unmute. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.